the screen. TJ, you touched your circle, which means you're eliminated.
Someone's got to do it, and I'll take the sacrifice.
All right, you're free to go. Taylor, you weren't the first out.
You're right.
I'm proud of you, Taylor.
I wasn't the first, but I will be the second.
Wait, what? Wait, what? Whoa! All right, now there's 2 out.
And if you're wondering why Chandler and a bunch of other familiar faces are competing, it's because every star competitor from all of my videos are here for the biggest crossover in Mr. Beast history.
Everyone here has been in a Mr. Beast video before. They know what it takes to win, so it's very tough competition.
I watched the 1 to 100 video. 42 is the biggest threat, for sure.
This is the lady that jumped off the platform and,
eliminated 99 people.
yeah. Is this bigger than your house in the woods you have?
It is literally bigger than me and Grizz's house. Throw them in here with me. Let's do it.
And on the back of everyone's shirt is all the money they've won and lost in previous videos. So Landon here has lost $200,000, $250,000, $1 million, a $2.5 million private jet, and another $1 million at the cube.
I like hanging out with Jimmy because he reminds me of all my failures.
And our next elimination happened in the most surprising way I could have imagined.
Oh, heck no. Hey, Josh just got out.
Why'd you get out? You didn't want to use the porta potty?
No.
Okay, porta potty got someone out.
Thanks for having me, though.
No problem.
This was a big...
This is a last to leave video, so all these contestants will literally be sleeping in their tiny circle. Except it seemed like Gio had other plans. And if you've seen our videos before, you might already know what he was planning.
I've played these games before!
Trying to keep everyone from sleeping seemed like it was actually working.
That's it. I'm out of here. Good luck, guys. I'm tired. I'm going home.
This isn't an old man's game. This is a young man's game. This one was too much for me.
And they weren't the only ones, because while they were sleeping, 7 people accidentally touched the red line. And one of them was none other than Carl.
I woke up with this big toe touching the line.
After the first night, 14 players had already lost their chance at $500,000. And more are about to go during this all-time favorite next game.
Guards, bring in the blocks.
Oh, here you go again. Oh,
Towers.
What?
Oh, no.
Because all of you are very experienced players, it's only fitting I bring back one of the hardest games we've ever done.
This is how I got out on Beast Games. This is not gonna happen again.
All I need you to do is build a tower on the red block. Make sure your tower is very sturdy. I'll come back in a couple minutes.
I've seen this on Beast Games and it looks so hard. I don't know how I'm gonna do this.
I don't see a lot of people coming out of this. Hopefully I'm not one of them. Or hopefully I am one of them.
In the wilderness video, you guys were against each other. Are you working together now?
I trust him right now.
Can I give it a jump test or no?
Yeah.
All right. Well, if you hold it, that's not... Get out of here, man.
How's everyone feel about their tower? Control room, throw up a 24-hour timer. Starting now, if your tower falls over in the next 24 hours, you will be eliminated.
Oh my God.
And to spice things up, guards, hand everyone a dodgeball.
When that 24-hour timer hits 0, the lights will turn red, and you will have exactly 10 seconds to throw your dodgeball at someone else's tower.
If you knock it over, they will be eliminated. Make sure you make some friends, because you probably don't want 20 people throwing their dodgeball at you.
Let's figure out who we're gonna take out.
Hopefully you trust your neighbors. We created a nice little pact here.
Dude, there's some people on our perimeter I don't really trust.
Someone can throw a dodgeball at my tower, and I can get eliminated.
I'm tired. I want to sleep. But I don't know. How can I sleep?
But some people didn't sleep, focusing instead on guarding their tower against the challenge ahead.
It's officially day number 3, and I'm kind of scared for it.
This is a game of endurance. So, just been sitting here waiting.
Because this is an endurance challenge, a few people inevitably touch the red line. And one player literally got eliminated by a raisin.
Not only did he touch it, but then he proceeded to caress the circle.
That's a $500,000 raisin!
But the majority of this time was spent forming alliances and deciding who they were going to target with their dodgeballs.
That's the thing. You don't know who's aligned with who's going to try to defend each other.
It's almost time!
Who are we thinking about throwing it at?
Jeremy, I saw him on TV. I feel like he should have made better decisions.
There's a couple people on my hit list. It's Ray.
I know Hugo's not going to do nothing, but aside from him, or is he?
After nearly 24 hours of all of you protecting your towers, finally,
1 minute remains! You had ample time to form alliances, develop a strategy, figure out your enemies. This is gonna be crazy! 3, 2, 1!
I can't believe I survived, dude.
All right, Jeremy, you lost in Beast Games, and now you might be the first person to lose to Joey and not be a hot dog eating contest.
You can leave.
All right, Mark, you can head out. But by far, the most brutal elimination is when Hugo eliminated Rain. What you just witnessed is what I would call instant karma. Hugo, what do you have to say for yourself?
Maybe if she would have cooked a little more in the bunker, helped out.
Hold on, Hugo. Don't act like I didn't clean up the bathroom, mop the floor.
You two can just leave. You're good to head out. All right, take care. And to the rest of you, you can kick your tower over. You survived. Get some rest while you can, because tomorrow, half of you are going home. This isn't just another last to leave challenge. The 62 people you see here have all competed before. Some have won hundreds of thousands, and others have lost everything. So the only question is, who will last the longest?
Slept a little better tonight now that there's not a giant tower in my circle. Jimmy said that we're going to eliminate a lot of people today, which I'm down for whatever challenge comes next because we need to thin the numbers out. At the end of the day, only one person's going to take home the $500,000.
Attention, everyone! I have an announcement to make.
I hate to do this, but half of you are about to go home.
50% of us going home. Absolutely diabolical. I'm so scared right now.
Yeah, it's terrifying. I'm probably going home.
I'm just hoping it's a game of skill and not a game of luck. We have a line going through the middle of the room.
Since they're putting tape down, it seems like they're dividing the room into 4 quadrants.
We're going to try to figure out a way to make sure that half of the room that goes.
In a matter of seconds, Gio and I are literally separated. Yeah, this is by far the worst I've felt in this challenge yet.
Now all of us are about to get out in less than 30 seconds.
We have now split the circles into 4 quadrants. We are going to be playing a game of hot potato. I'm going to start a 1-hour timer that none of you can see. And at the end of the 1-hour timer, the 2 quadrants with these balls inside of them will be eliminated.
Everyone, get the balls out.
There's a lot of strategy in this coming up game.
It's up to you to work with your team to figure out the best way to keep track of time if you want any chance of moving on.
I'll give you a little bit of time to strategize.
Who wants to count? We need to keep track of the time somehow.
One person's counting the seconds, the other person's counting the minutes.
Because if we get enough people counting, the average should be pretty accurate.
Do you think they're going to be able to time it perfectly?
Not in the slightest.
Yeah.
They say when they need counters, and I can't even count.
You know, there's no way you can guarantee a perfect count, especially to an hour. You know, you can maybe get close for a minute.
We are panicking. We have no idea what to do. There's 100 different strategies, and now everyone's like freaking out.
And after we spun to see which 2 quadrants got the balls first, orange team! Green team!
3, 2, 1, go! The 60-minute timer has begun. How long are you holding on to the ball for?
I'm holding on to the last second, baby.
Well, what if you hold on to it a second too long, your team's out?
Oh, I've got multiple different counters.
Oh, these are the counters over here?
Got counters in the back.
2, 3, 4.
This entire game
6
is reliant upon your team's ability to keep track of time.
11.
If you're just a second off, he can hold the ball and you all go home.
They're trusting their teammates to count, to stay focused, to be right. But what if they're not?
Orange team thinks it's been 9 minutes and 20 seconds, but green team's on 10 minutes and 15 seconds. We already have a minute difference between the 2 sides.
I'm hoping they're holding the ball too long. It goes red while it's still in their hands.
Because that's the thing about time. No one here knows exactly how much they have.
We're locked in. Everyone's quiet.
Drum major.
Are you guys going to throw at each other?
No, we're going.
And while some were trying their hardest to keep track of the time,
8.
How you feeling?
Dude, as soon as those balls get thrown, time goes out the window. It's just gonna be a frenzy.
others would inevitably try to throw them off.
52, 53, 54,
2,042.
We're done.
Noah, send it.
Send it. Hot potato!
Oh, he threw it!
Josh, throw it.
All right, throw it.
Oh, get the ball. Oh, no.
All right, let's see where it goes.
Okay.
Oh, it hit a camera!
What happened to the film on it?
Why is the ball green?
Oh, he ran out! He ran out!
6, 7,
Whose side will it be on the timer hits you?
9 minute.
Go.
Get it over! Get it out of the zone! Oh my God! Kick it!
This is chaos! This is chaos!
When is the timer gonna be up?
Hit it!
both over here.
Let's go! I tried to keep track. I don't think anybody really in here had a proper count with how much chaos was going on.
When the lights turn red, both balls were in the yellow quadrant. I'm sorry, but you guys are eliminated. As for the other three of you, we'll be running it back, but this time with a 10-minute timer and one ball between pink, green, and orange to figure out which is the other team that will be going home.
Oh boy.
And before we settle the tiebreaker, 6 of you stepped on your red line. If you see your name up there, you are eliminated. Oh, Brett. Oh, he took his shirt off. Brett, put your shirt on. I don't know what's going on. Don't encourage this behavior. Don't encourage this.
That was the most intense game I've ever played in my entire life.
And getting the ball first is orange. 3, 2, 1, go! The 10-minute timer has now begun. When it hits 0, whoever's quadrant has that ball will be eliminated.
You'd think after the first round, they'd have this figured out. But nope. Same panic, same confusion, just a little bit more desperation.
What time are you at?
Like 9, but they're at 7.
She said she's at 9, but they're at 7. Which one are you trusting?
We'll let you know, Noah.
Hold it, Noah. Hold it. Noah,
Chaos!
stop. Dude, you should have listened.
What's going on? He got out! Oh, hit it out of your quadrant! Hit it out!
Throw it!
Oh my God!
Oh, snap, this is good.
No! Nice!
How much time is left?
Oh my God. Get it!
Akira just saved the day once again.
Pink team, you guys are eliminated and can now head out.
Dude, that was the most heart-wrenching thing I think we've faced so far, man.
We'll bring out the love stacks. I'll have another game in the morning.
So it's day 5. Energy's feeling good. You know, we got a good night's sleep.
Everyone is acting maybe a little too confident.
I think at this point it's gonna start getting pretty intense.
Now we're all thinking about our chances of winning $500,000. If it comes down to me or another competitor, I'm not gonna hesitate.
Before we can play the next game, look at the screen. One of you stepped on your red circle.
Oh no!
Who is that, bro?
Yo, John!
No!
You've spent 5 days in this circle for nothing.
I have one thing to say to everyone here. Obviously, this is not how I expected to get out, but the right person is going to receive that money. And as for me, I'm going to go get my wife pregnant. Later.
We're a family-friendly channel. Gio, close your ears. All right, you heard nothing.
For this next game, we're gonna be randomly pairing you up.
You're gonna be going head-to-head with a different circle to eliminate each other.
That's crazy.
I want to reveal the first 2 circles going head-to-head.
Asma and Arlene.
Guards in the back, bring out the balance beam. Will you please connect these 2 circles for me?
In between your circles is a balance beam and 2 gold balls. The first contestant to grab their ball and return to their circle will move on, while the other will be eliminated. And if you both lose your balance and fall, you will both be eliminated.
3, 2, 1, go! All right, they're off. Oh, she's going quick, but she might fall, or she might not. Graceful. Oh, she's beating you. You gotta hurry. You gotta hurry. You gotta hurry. I don't know if I'd celebrate just yet. You guys look at this screen over here. She won, but then literally 1.5 seconds later, touched the red line. They have both, sadly, been eliminated.
I celebrated too hard.
Guards, set up the next game. Preston versus Noah. Noah, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Preston, are you ready?
Yeah.
Well, before you go, I want to let you know that Shopify is the best way to start.
Jimmy, can you say go so I can get on this balance beam?
Noah, do you want to start a business?
Yes.
Well, when you do, make sure you use Shopify to build it, grow it, and manage it, okay?
Shopify all the way, baby. Let's go.
Go! Shopify has literally powered my businesses since I had 3 million subscribers. It's what I used to sell merch on. It's what I started selling Feastables on. Basically, anything I've ever sold online, I've used Shopify. Noah, touch it first. Oh my gosh! That was a blowout!
Let's go!
I want to help you start your own business as well. To get started, go to shopify.com/MrBeast or scan the QR code on his face right now. I'm going to be buying random products from 100 stores that start a brand new business.
Never been a better time. Go do it. Reveal the next opponents. Gio and Nicholas. If you lose, that means you lost to a 12-year-old.
Won't let that happen.
Gio, are you gonna win this one?
I'm gonna cook. I'm gonna saute. I'm gonna deep fry.
Good luck. Go! All right, they're off. Oh, he's beating you, Gio. He's beating you. Oh, he fell! All right, Gio, just don't fall. Don't fall. Don't fall. Don't fall, Gio. Don't fall! Yes! Let's go, Gio!
Let's go!
And as more and more players were eliminated,
Oh! 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 Oh!
we arrived at the final game. Rami and Akira.
Who's going home, you or him?
Unfortunately, it's gonna have to be Rami today. He's standing in the way of me in 500K right now.
Now, Akira is known for doing many challenges, and he's won plenty.
You just won a brand new Lamborghini.
I did win a Lamborghini, that's pretty cool.
I will beat you, no matter what.
Akira, any last words?
It's go time, baby.
Any last words?
I don't care what you've done, my friend. It's over.
Oh, the best for last! 3, 2, 1, go! You can't talk all that smack and lose. You can't. Oh.
Pleasure doing business with you, baby. I am here in the top 10 to prove that I belong.
Top 10, baby. We got top 10.
Top 10.
After 5 days and 90 eliminations, we had narrowed down to our top 10.
A week ago, all 100 of these circles were filled, and now just the top 10 remain.
Let's go!
This top 10 is stacked with Beast veterans. We have Los, who's been in several videos. Akira is back from Beast Game. Ronnie competed in Lasermate. Noah did 32,000 curls. Omar took his hand off the $1 million. Gio was in both of our ages 1 to 100 videos. Allison left her previous circle for an iPhone. Julia lasted 20 days in the wilderness. Gabriella was in the top 10 for a $1 million island, and Mallory actually won that $1 million island. And because each of you have already competed in my videos,
We are going to do something I have never done before. For this next game, I'm going to let the 10 of you pick the game yourselves.
Whoa.
Oh, God.
Oh, no.
It could be a game of chance, a game of skill. It could be who jumps the highest. Whichever game gets the most votes, we will play. And I need that game to eliminate half of you. We'll give you guys some time to mingle.
just remember, $500,000 depends on your decision.
Damn, that's wild. We picked the game.
The faster we come to an agreement, the faster we can get this over with.
Would anybody want to do rock, paper, scissors?
No, I'm not taking a chance. I'm not taking a chance for 500K now.
All right, I got an idea. How about we do a bench press competition?
No!
No.
Guys, I say we do 1 foot.
Who can stand on 1 foot the longest? That's actually a really good idea.
First 5 to drop off 1 foot? Okay.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, we got it.
Jimmy!
We have a game. I am a dancer, but I won't tell them that.
You guys want to leave $500,000 up to balance it. Well, before we play, Patrick, come on in. This is our standards and practice guy. You're gonna have to explain exactly what the rules are. He's gonna be the one upholding them.
And in case you were all wondering, for these challenge videos, we have someone whose literal job is to make sure they're fair.
You gotta pick one leg. You can't change legs. You cannot use your other foot for support. If your foot touches your other leg, you're out.
If you agree with the rules Noah laid out, raise your hand. Oh my gosh. Okay. Any last words?
Cuties, love you.
May the best man win, guys.
3, 2, 1, go! And the game is off. There's a timer on the screen. Let's see how long it takes for 5 of them to touch the ground. Okay.
It's been 10 seconds.
It is dead quiet in here. No one is talking. Wow. Do any of you guys want some Feastables?
I'll take one.
There you go. Help distract you.
Appreciate it. My cookies and cream is hid.
Yeah.
That was good.
I have a theory that if I say buy Mr. Beast merch, buy Mr. Beast lab forms, everything you can find Mr. Beast related.
Yeah, Feastables. Like this, yeah?
Yes, I get a 50% plus chance of surviving.
That's not true, but I will put that clip in the video. We'll come over here.
Hi, Jimmy.
Hey. Okay. If your foot touches the turf, you lose $500,000.
I'm aware.
Okay. How long do you think you could? Oh, okay. How long do you think you could go?
I don't know.
20 minutes?
I don't know.
An hour?
Maybe.
5 hours?
Maybe.
Could go a day.
Could go day.
I would say his toe is maybe 2 inches off the ground right now. All right, well now it's 5 inches off the ground. See a little shakeage in the feet. He's not responding. He's locked in.
And that seemed to be the case for everybody. And with laser-like focus, they were about to close in on 5 minutes of standing on one leg. But not before our first elimination.
Darn it.
Gabriella, 4.5 minutes.
Yeah, even though I didn't win, I feel fulfilled. Last time I made it to the final 10 for my video, and I felt like I gave it my all this time around. I'm proud of it.
Back-to-back top 10.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Come on. Thanks, Jimmy. Appreciate it.
9 remain. Oh, I'm seeing some shaking over here.
I'm not gonna lie, my calves are burning, and if my calves are burning, I know everybody else.
Why are your calves burning? You're a gymnast. You're wobbling more than anyone else here. What is going on?
Yo, no, Los is wobbling a lot.
Los is dancing all over the place. While this challenge may look simple, after a certain point, comfort does not exist. And after lasting over 5 minutes longer than Gabriella,
You're good. You got this, dude.
Los was feeling just that.
No, Los.
That's a second one down.
It was tough, man.
What gave out?
My hip, my ankle. It was fair. I didn't know I was gonna cave that hard, but.
Oh, actually, she's about to touch it. I'm sorry. Valerie, it's not looking good for you over here.
You don't think?
I can see that foot shaking from across the room.
I'm good.
But just to make sure, we decided to review the footage.
You can listen to what I'm saying. Valerie over here, do you think you touched the ground?
If I did, I don't feel it. I don't feel my legs at all.
If you look at this shot right here, you'll see.
That counts as a touch.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Valerie touched the ground. 3 people have been eliminated.
And with 2 eliminations still remaining,
Bye.
It has been over 16 minutes. Everyone here wants it badly. Let's see how far they're willing to take it. Oh, we're getting some hoppage over here.
Minor hoppage.
Oh, there's some hopping over there. I'm seeing hopping everywhere. Omar's hopping. Omar, I'm seeing a lot of moving over here. How bad's the leg burning?
it's okay. And Omar wasn't the only one feeling fatigued because Ronnie...
Whoa, are you sweating?
You see that?
Oh my gosh, he is sweating a pool over here.
Don't lose, Ronnie.
We got this, bro.
My foot is burning.
Stay strong.
Oh my gosh. Bro, how much pain are you in? I can literally see every strain of your calf moving right now. He wants it.
And as time crawled along, things weren't getting any easier for Omar.
How bad is your calf burning right now?
It's okay. I'm gonna do this, no matter what.
He is literally half an inch off the ground.
Breathe, Omar.
You can do this. Don't give up.
23 minutes has gone by. Will Omar be the next to drop?
Or will it be Ronnie?
Y'all doing great. Almost a half an hour.
That's crazy, actually.
And with resolves truly being tested, we had to review footage once again, but not for who you're thinking.
Everyone, I have footage. Someone has touched the ground. And that someone...
Thought so.
You looked right there.
Yeah, I did.
See that?
Yep.
Julia is out. 6 of you remain. Which one of you will give up first? We're going until we find out. Truthfully, I would say out of everyone, Akira is shaking the least. He is not moving an inch. Omar is constantly jumping around.
It looks like Ronnie is really struggling.
I'm not gonna give up. I'm gonna do this.
And this seemed to be it. As the clock was reaching 38 minutes, he and Ronnie were reaching their breaking points, and both were on the verge of collapse.
I'm sweating up a storm. I've been dripping since like 13th minute, bro.
Don't think about your leg. Just don't think about it.
You can't do this. You got this. Breathe. Find your balance.
He's out. He's out. The 5 of you are now moving on.
Top 5, bro. Top 5. You gave it everything. That's what you gotta keep telling yourself, okay? Be proud of yourself. You fought to the end.
Hey, Allison, you're an animal, dude.
I'm the last girl.
Cuties. Hey, Omar, you're a beast, man. I heard you fighting for your life down here. That was incredible, bro.
That was amazing.
I will say I regret doing that challenge.
Are you getting flashbacks to when you took your hand off the $1 million?
This was the moment to redeem myself, and I couldn't do it.
I would not beat yourself up too much. You definitely gave it everything you had.
Thank you so much, Jimmy.
Walk out with that head high, bro. You did amazing, bro.
All love, Omar.
Now that you've made it to the top 5, I'm gonna give you a choice. You can choose to play a final game that will eliminate 4 of you, giving us the winner of this $500,000. Or you can choose endurance, and we settle this like a traditional last to leave challenge.
Let's do it, man. Endurance all day. Endurance.
Keep in mind, if you choose endurance, you could be stuck in these circles for days, weeks, or even months.
We'll have 1 minute to either write endurance or game. Start the timer! What do you think, game or endurance?
I want to play a game. I want to end this on a high note.
I think we played too many games. This is the last to lead the circle challenge, and I think endurance.
30 seconds!
They're all so short.
It's up to the 5 of you to decide your fate.
I think I'm the tiebreaker.
What are you feeling?
I'm torn. I don't know yet.
You want to be in here for a month?
Do you want to win $500,000? You want to listen to a 12-year-old?
20 seconds left.
They don't want to be here any longer. That means they're going to leave before you do.
15 seconds!
Hey, look, the 12-year-old's got to go to school.
You want to be out of here? You want to take a shower?
Come on, don't listen to them.
I know it's a big decision, Allison.
5,
Listen to your own
4,
self. Don't listen to them.
2, 1. Time is up. Drop your markers. Akira, what did you write?
I wrote game.
Gio.
Game.
Noah.
Endurance.
Ronnie.
Waiting it out, baby.
And the tiebreaker is... game.
Yes!
Let's play a game! Woo!
I'll go set it up.
Hey, can you see my sign? This is what I really chose.
Oh,
You should have picked endurance.
yeah, I'm sorry. Hold on.
Everybody's gonna roast me to pieces if I lose to a 12-year-old. Honestly, it doesn't matter what challenge it is. At this point, I feel like I'm a challenge beast.
It's fine. We'll have fun. It'll be fun. It'll be fine.
No more friendships. It's all about who's winning this one right now, and I'm walking out with that money 100%.
We'll have fun and we'll all be friends after this.
Allison let a 12-year-old manipulate her. 12-year-old's not going home with money.
We're locked in now.
We're locked in, bro.
I want to kill her over there.
100%.
Oh, we're all gonna hate each other.
In order to play this final game, the guards will be moving your circles to a new location. Stay calm and be careful, because the rules still apply. If you leave your circle, you will lose $500,000 and leave it for someone else.
You guys have defeated 95 competitors, lived in these circles for over a week, and it all comes down to this.
Feast your eyes on your very own mannequins.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. That's me, bro.
I've equipped each of you with a different color paintball gun.
On my cue, all 5 of you will fire 1 shot at the same time. If your mannequin gets hit, we will shrink your circle. After 3 shrinks, you will be eliminated.
Whoa.
It is up to you who you want to aim at.
I think Akira's coming for me. 100%. He's not going to say it out loud, but he's intimidated by me for sure.
I got a pretty big target on my back. I have a feeling some of them are going to come after me early on. So I got to make my shots count.
I'm just gonna hit the cleanest shot I can. Just try to hit every single target.
Akira and then Noah, I think.
So I didn't tell no one, but I play airsoft.
You're awesome.
Are you guys ready?
Yes.
Yeah!
Guards, load the rounds. You get shot 3 times, you're eliminated. Last one standing wins $500,000.
Game on, baby.
Let's go, baby.
I'm ready.
3, 2, 1, fire! Oh my gosh, they all missed. Every one of them missed.
They fire a little higher than you aim, so that's good note. But now everyone clearly saw where I was shooting at, so.
Hey, Allison's going first.
Allison.
Allison's going first.
All right.
All right.
If they're all 3 going for her, I might as well aim for someone on the right.
Guards, load the paintball guns. 3, 2, 1, fire!
Oh, somebody got hit.
You got hit.
Oh my gosh, Ronnie got hit.
That's a hit.
Oh wait, Akira got hit.
My leg.
Wait, who's yellow?
Let's
Wait,
go.
Ronnie, you shot Akira?
Let's go, baby.
And Akira shot Ronnie.
It's a good shot.
Shrink their circles.
Stood on 1 foot for 38 minutes yesterday. We're good. My money's going towards kids, so y'all are taking it out of their hands as well.
I'm a kid.
Load their gun. $500,000 on the line. 3, 2, 1, fire! Oh!
Oh, you got me in the nuts.
Oh.
Akira got hit in the nuts.
That's what I was going for the first time, too.
The only person who got hit was Akira and his genitals.
That's brutal.
That's personal. Shrink a circle. As you can probably tell, Akira, next shot, you will be out of room to stand.
This is true.
This is your last leg, your last life.
Hey, Kira, they might be missing on purpose to let us battle it out. You got 2 targets already. We might want to put one on somebody else now this time.
It's true.
I'll go Allison this time.
Hey, we agree to go Allison if he agrees to go Allison?
I'm down.
3 shots, right to her.
All 3 of you?
You were the one who chose this game, girl.
Are you agreeing to target Allison like the rest of them?
Yeah. I have to, yeah.
If this is my last round, love you guys.
Love you too.
Guards, load the guns! 3, 2, 1, fire! Oh! Ronnie stuck to his word and shot Allison.
Hit her right in the nuts.
Hit me in my nuts.
Oh my gosh, wait. What is this? Wait, Ronnie!
What color is it?
It's blue.
End of the day, so only one of us can win.
You're going down, bro. This time I'm going right for your forehead.
Whoa.
I gotta take him out. If I take him out and he goes down with me, it's a poetic way to go.
I should have knocked him out. Should have knocked him out.
We'll see what happens.
Load him! 3, 2, 1, fire! Oh my gosh. All right, Akira got hit right here on the side. And if you look over here, Ronnie also got hit. The two of you were so stubborn that you cost each other $500,000.
Game's the game.
He's already got a Lambo. I needed that.
We both battled our hearts out. We got this far. Looks like one of these three deserves it more.
I feel like you should have been standing there instead of the cardboard.
Tough, man. I'm sorry.
Akira, Ronnie, you both have been eliminated, but if it makes you feel better, you can drop your gun. Here's 10 grand. You're not going home empty-handed.
Doesn't make me feel better.
Whoa, 10 G's. That's what's up.
Boys, remove Akira and Ronnie, please. 3 players remain. Let's keep shooting. 3, 2, 1, fire! Gio hit her right in the chest.
Yo, Gio was holding back this whole time. When do you become John Wick?
Allison, you're one shot away from losing $500,000. 3, 2, 1, fire! Wait, it went through Gio's head. You were hit? You sure you want to keep duking it out with Allison? What if you hit Allison here, she hits you one more time? Then it's Mr. No Circle versus you with 2 hits.
Noah's got nothing.
Guards, load them! 3, 2, 1, fire!
That's a hit. Oh, that's a hit.
You're eliminated.
Noah, hell of a shot. Gio, you're the youngest contestant to ever get this far. You can make history.
I could.
You can do this.
Allison, here's your $10,000 in cash.
Oh, thank you. Never mind. Bye, Gio.
All right, Nolan, do you mind knocking it over?
Did he just tackle a girl?
I think now would be a great time, Gio, to hear from your father. Come on in.
Oh my God.
Your son is this close to $500,000.
How are you?
I'm so amazing.
Are you having fun?
Yes.
Whether you win or not, well, you have literally shown the world like how incredible you are. You have truly impressed everybody. Like you,
Does that make you want to go easy on him?
No. That was absolutely heartwarming, but they're not my family, and I came here to get mine.
Oh my gosh. This is gonna be good. Guards, load their guns. $500,000 on the line. 3, 2, 1, fire! Oh! Gio landed a hit!
Yes!
Right on the neck! Guards, bring out the circle. You had a lead, now it's tied ball game. All of a sudden, you both went quiet on me. All right, load them up. You guys fought hard to be here. Don't let it be for nothing. 3, 2, 1, fire! Oh! Whoa, 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 come here. Noah hit the foot.
He just hit Gio.
All right. Shrink Gio's circle. That is Gio's second hit.
You are 1 shot away from $500,000.
This kid's not gonna miss too much. I gotta put one on target real fast.
Guards, load them up. $500,000 on the line. 3, 2, 1, fire! Oh! Whoa!
Oh my God.
Oh, Gio! You hit it! I can put my finger through the hole.
Bro, you can't make this up.
Dude, it's tied up again. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna barf. It is now tied. We are now 1 shot away. Oh my God.
Yo, Godspeed, bro.
Hey, yeah, good. Hey, that's all love, man.
Their circles are shrunk to the max. I cannot believe this. But next shot wins $500,000. This is the most important moment of both of your lives. Will it be Gio or will it be Noah? Who is walking away with this $500,000 right now? 3, 2, 1, fire! $500,000! Come on in, come on in!
Gio has had one of the most amazing journeys of any competitor we've ever had, always standing out amongst their peers.
Not lasting this entire road.
And winning the hearts of everyone they competed against.
Save Gio! Save Gio!
And because Gio never gave up, they are now the winner of $500,000!
This is so crazy. Oh my God.